Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to installment of Scott Selections here for Tuesday, November 15th. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a loss in Monday Night Football with the field goal prop. We had the longest field goal under 47.5 yards at minus 110 on DraftKings. Did not work out, looked decent early, but then Joey's fly got sent out there right before halftime to attempt a career-long 58-yarder. I believe entering the game his career long was 56, and he drilled it from 58. Then he also drilled the one later in the game from 55. So Sly just had himself a career day. Didn't exactly see that coming. Either way, picked up a loss there. Look for a bounce back winner here on Tuesday. By the way, just to briefly discuss the ending of that game, I know it's a bit controversial for some people. Let me know down below if you thought it was a comment down below if you thought it was a penalty or not. To be honest, I understand it. Just my quick 2 cents there. I get you don't want that to determine the game in the fourth quarter. If that happens in the first quarter, second quarter, or third quarter, or even the beginning of the fourth quarter, that's a penalty 100% of the time. It didn't really bother me. I get it. Heineke flopped afterward. He celebrated. It was a little bit cringy. I get it. But I still think it was a penalty. You can argue that you shouldn't make that call, but Graham shouldn't have hit him when Heineke gave himself up. So in my opinion, I didn't actually mind the penalty. But if you want to try to convince me otherwise down below, then do so. But that's just kind of where I stand. Either way, time to transition over to the play of the day for a different sport, actually. We're going to transition over to tennis, which means we're going to be looking at a play taking place not even on Tuesday, but early Wednesday morning, and a match taking place at 8 a.m. on Wednesday between Djokovic and Rublev. And for this matchup, I'm going to take Djokovic to win in straight sets at minus 105 on FanDuel. Time recording of 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Couple reasons why I like Djokovic to win this match in straight sets. First reason, going through the actual form of Djokovic this season, he's been absolutely incredible, and even though he had to skip a couple tournaments because of his vaccination status, he's been unbelievable for the last couple of months. Since the French Open loss to Nadal, Djokovic is 23-2 in his 25 matches, and he won Wimbledon. He's been dominant on hard court since the start of the hard court season. The only reason why Alcaraz won the U.S. Open, or one of the reasons, is because Djokovic wasn't allowed to attend because he was not vaccinated. But in tournaments he's been able to participate in, he's been unbelievable, and I do think Djokovic should look sharp once again. He won his first match against Tsitsipas, and he ended up not getting broken in the entire match, only faced one break point. And that's really the story of Djokovic's recent form for the last couple of weeks. Djokovic has been serving extremely well, and historically speaking, he's always been a pretty good server, never amazing by any means, but his first serve's been really just money in the bank for the last couple of weeks. Djokovic has won at least 80% of his first serve points in each of his last 7 matches, and he has faced a couple of really good returners, faced Tsitsipas a couple of times, faced off against Rune, faced off against Medvedev as well, and he's really serving extremely well. And I do think that's going to pay dividends against Rublev, who is a pretty good returner, definitely not on the same level as the likes of Medvedev, etc. But I think Djokovic should do pretty well holding serve against Rublev in this matchup. Meanwhile, Rublev might have a couple of difficult service games in this match because Djokovic is arguably the greatest returner in the history of the sport, and Rublev is definitely a guy with a good serve. His first serve percentage could be a little bit better, but it's mostly based on the rallies, and I do think that since Rublev is prone to hitting unforced errors and Djokovic is a brick wall most of the time, you might see Rublev surrender a lot of free points based on unforced errors. But I do think after the war that he had against Medvedev, which was a very impressive win, don't get me wrong, Medvedev, we know, has been a good player this year, but since he started the year #1 in the world and probably should have won the Australian Open, he's had a bit of an underwhelming year, let's put it that way. But still an impressive win by Rublev. I just think Djokovic is a different animal, and I do think that even though Rublev played well, he left himself vulnerable in different spots to lose the match. I believe he even fought off a match point in that third set tiebreak. I think Djokovic is just going to be able to make a lot of quality shots that will take advantage of some of the areas that Medvedev might have left, I'd say, available during the course of the match. I think Medvedev had a couple of chances to exploit Rublev, didn't do so. I think he will not be as lucky against Djokovic in the Wednesday match. But Djokovic is also one of the greatest players either of all time or in just the ATP finals, because Djokovic or Federer, they're the most successful ATP finals players of all time. Djokovic has won this tournament 5 times, and he's made the final 7 times. Rublev has never made the final. He's always been a top 8 player, say fringe top 10 guy, but I do think Djokovic is just on another level, and I think he will show it during Wednesday's group stage match. Plus, they played in this exact same tournament last year on hard court, and Djokovic destroyed him. Djokovic beat him 6-3, 6-2. So I know they played earlier this year in Belgrade on clay. Rublev won. Do I care? Not really. Happened a couple months ago, different surface. I don't think it's actually that big of a deal. But Rublev has been a good hard court player. Djokovic is a great hardcourt player, a historically great hardcourt player, and I think there are just levels to this match. I think Rublev might have a moment or two where maybe there's a little opening, but Djokovic is very, very good in high-pressure situations. I think he'll put the pressure on, and I think eventually he'll find a way to win this match in straight sets. Might be competitive for a set or two. You might end up seeing a tiebreak in there, but Djokovic is so consistent, and Rublev can be extremely wild at times. I do think Djokovic should find a way to just overwhelm Rublev with consistency in or out to a straight set wins. The play that once again for Wednesday morning is going to be Djokovic in straight sets at -105 on FanDuel in his match against Rublev. Bye, everyone.